every hour, every step of every way.
The necessary battle for public displays of affection. The Christian world has given up a lot of key battlegrounds over the decades. One of the least egregious of these, that deserves more spotlight than it gets, is the battle for public displays of affection, commonly known as PDAs. I'm about to lose a couple of readers, so in theory I should get into why this matters. Instead of that, I would first like to point out how we lost it, because this is a crucial part of the question. I think we lost it because we have a bad theology of glory. Allow me to explain. Purity, Puritan culture, and holiness. To be clear, I speak mainly of the Zambian and African context, but I'm pretty sure this can be applied right across the board. When I speak of purity, Puritan culture, I do not mean the purity culture that was marked by the likes of Joshua Harris in the early 2000s. Instead, I mean the kind of prudish Puritan purity that has been taken on because this is what we think the Puritans we highly revere acted out in their marriages. If only that were true. Added to this is a view of holiness that is closer to British Stoicism, think stiff upper lip, and less beautiful, glorious, and God-glorifying. Holiness should be thought of in terms of glory of the transfiguration, the kind that believers look at and marvel with great desire. The glory of holiness was not just something to be revered, but something to be desired for its beauty and not just for its respectability. Translate this into the marriage setting, and you have the marriages that ooze respectability but lack glory. Marriages that resemble a business arrangement more than that of friends and lovers. Marriages that reflect more pride and prejudice than they do songs of Solomon. The woman as the glory of the man, the crown of his life and his great delight. The man as the lord of the woman, the king of the empire, ready to conquer the world with his beloved by his side. This kind of glory, though not flaunted in people's faces, is very visible. Who lights a candle and puts it under a bowl? Did God give us this beautiful gift of marriage just for us to hide its glory? Far from it. He made the beauty of marriage to be on display for all to see and point to the great marriage of Christ and the church. We think so little of that marriage bond because we struggle to wrap our heads around the basics of a visible loving relationship between a man and a woman, between a husband and a wife. The devil loves vacuums. So in the absence of godly couples modeling the glory of marriage with public displays of affection, what do we have? Well, we have Hollywood and pop culture. For at least 2 decades, they have told us that vibrant, glorious relationships are to be found in teenage romance, college and young adult flings, and promiscuous, adulterous marriages. Married couples have no glory to their relationship. The husbands are focused on sports, recreation, money, or a mistress, while the wives are wondering how they lost their vigor, life, and figure, or they are workaholics, alcoholics, and manic depressives. We have a generation of people who have grown up seeing that public displays of affection are the realm of the unmarried and the promiscuous, while the realm of the married is about systems, boredom, and a desire to return to the good old days. This is how we lost it. Holding of hands, an arm around the shoulder, a kiss, warm and playful gestures between a man and a woman, or even visible delight when your spouse enters a room. In our modern setting, this implies the two are young and naive, or unmarried and promiscuous. When was the last time you heard a little boy or girl asking their parents why 2 single people are behaving like they are married, doing what only mom and dad should do because mom and dad actually have a special relationship? I would wager it's been a while. A word for the truly reformed. To be honest, this is a fight that I would rather not have. Given the choice, I would rather be out in the wilderness looking after my sheep against the dangers of the occasional lion or bear. But I have heard the taunts of this uncircumcised Philistine for way too long, and haven't seen many people stepping forward to fight it. People much older than me should be ahead of me in this battle because, quite frankly, they have the experience and they have the armor. All I have is a few round stones and a sling. I might get creamed, but I am compelled to do this. The Philistine in front of me has the sword of ridicule and insults. You are a young man who doesn't know anything about married life, and yet you stand here to lecture us about public displays of affection? What do you know about anything? What I do know is that young people around you are more likely to associate displayed love, care, and affection with caricatures of your marriage, and this is on you. The Lord Jesus Christ has already set the standard, and the glory that shines from his love for his bride garners desire in onlookers and not just reverence. What is your excuse? The Philistine in front of me, it also has the shield of culture and the personality type or traits. I am not that kind of person. I am not from your generation. Well, you're in luck, because the kind of person you are has been determined by God before the foundations of the world. God gave you the assignment, and he says he is able to equip you for the task at hand. I have a friend whose PDAs with his wife would cause my wife and I to blush beyond our melanin threshold, but God has not called us to an equality of outcome. We should not measure our success by the standards of others. Rather, we should set it against the standard of glory. Does the glory displayed in our practice of affection one for the other generate anything more than fear and reverence in onlookers? The bar is not excessively high, but it is not as low as you may be portraying. The Philistine in front of me also has the sandals designed by the fabled designer, Strawman. Do you expect me to behave as though my wife and I are in our bedroom? No, I do not. And you actually know I do not mean that. But since you spent a lot of money on those sandals, I will not disregard the comment. Public displays of affection are not acted out to instill envy in onlookers. In the same way a candle does not try to show off its light, or salt try to boast in its saltiness. This is merely a product of it working as God intended it to. This is a call to the glorious image of the marriage that all marriages are built off of. The love and care that Jesus shows for the church is not done primarily for a public spectacle, but because it is done, we know for sure that when we see such a glorious imitation, we can point to the source. Let us turn this franchise around and take back the battleground for public displays of affection, and God willing, someday soon, we will hear an 8-year-old chastise some single teenagers or young adults for behaving like mommy and daddy.
And when you're